Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching this. Glad you can join us today. Hey, by the way, just a quick heads up. I'm getting some messages over here saying that the stream is not utterly smooth and it's kind of losing some frames. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Of course, there's not a whole lot I can do about it, but I suspect that I know the cause and will be able to fix it here in fairly short order. So don't worry, we'll make it work no matter what. Timothy, looks like you can see and hear me. Fantastic. All right, so guys, I say this every time. I love this class and I love these lectures, and today is going to be a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right in. We're actually going to start with a poll. We ran one of these polls before. Hey, Jeremy, great to have you with us. We ran one of these polls a couple lectures ago. We're going to do the same thing here. The poll it's going to be active here in just a moment. So if you get your either phone or another browser ready, I have the instructions inside the chat window there, so you can take a look at the chat window. And of course, you can see it right here. So I'm going to leave this up for just a moment so that you can take a note. You can go ahead and pull out your cell phone and or maybe another browser and start to get this ready. Then I'm going to throw the poll up. So great to have you. We have a few guests with us today, it looks like. That is fantastic. And then Aaron, looks like you're with us. Great. Yeah, really choppy today. Yeah, I'm getting those messages on my side as well, Aaron. So I'm hoping that once we do the poll, that will fix it. So let's try that, right? Let's go ahead and move on to our poll. Here's the question I have, and I'm going to go ahead and get myself out of the way. Have you ever lost a job, or has your job ever changed because of automation? So if let's take a look at this. Response A is, I have lost a job due to automation. B is, I had a job change significantly due to automation. C is, I had a job change slightly due to automation. Or D is, I've never been affected by automation. Hey, Jaime, great to have you with us. Hey, and Aaron, don't worry. If you can listen, that's going to be just fine. You know how this works. You can always reference it later. Okay, so let's go ahead and open that poll up. And let's see some responses. And while we're waiting for some responses, I'm going to go ahead and take us over to the puppy cam. All right? So we'll see you back here real soon. Okay, we're getting the responses coming on in, so I'm going to go ahead and just open this window. In case anybody missed it, the information for this poll is right up here. You can go to pollev.com and then /Schiffbau without the ER 302, or you can text. I also have the information in the chat window there. So we'll wait just another moment for folks to go ahead and chime in. Kind of interesting what we're seeing so far. Just so you know, under me, under that D is 75%. So far, of all those who have responded, 75% have not yet been affected by automation. I said I've never been affected. I think I need to put yet, and we'll talk about that today. Looks like we've had a few folks who have their job has changed significantly due to automation, or maybe a little bit. This is very interesting. So we'll continue to keep this up as we go along. Now, as you continue with this poll, I'm going to toss some ideas out there to you. First, I'm going to start. Hey, Jason, great to have you with us. First, I'm going to show you how old I am, but then don't worry, we're going to get to your generation here soon enough. All right, so when I was a kid, when you pulled up to a gas station, a whole army of people would come out and they would fuel your car, they would check your oil, they would wipe down the windows. It's like the movies you've seen, right? It's crazy, but that's what it was like when I was a kid. But you guys are like, well, yeah, you're old, Lon. Okay, well, all right, fair enough. Well, I remember when ATMs came out. By the way, we pump our own gas today, unless you're in Oregon. We pump our own gas today, and so we got rid of all those jobs. The machine has automated it. Well, when I was a kid, whenever you wanted to go to the bank and get money, you had to go talk to a teller. And then they came out with these things called ATMs, automated teller machines. And believe me, when that came about, that was funky and weird. It was bizarre to think that you could put in this card and get money and so forth. Now, the vast majority of you have grown up with ATMs. So you're like, you're still old, Lon. Okay, all right, fair enough. Hey, you notice what happened over the last 5 years with the grocery line? Self-checkout. And you remember when this started. It only happened 4 or 5 years ago. First, it was one line, and you're like, what the hell is that? The self-checkout for groceries in the store and so forth. And then they started to make it 2 lines and then 3 lines. Now, today, there's only 2 or 3 actual cashiers working. The vast majority of the lines are now self-checkout. Those jobs have been automated out. Okay, so Tristan put in here, my response was D, a lot of automation has already been in place before you started working. This is really true. This is the case. However, Tristan, there's going to be, you're going to see lots of ways that you are automating work for other people, like in music production. Now, one person can produce music. You can produce music, whereas in the past you needed all kinds of experts and equipment and so on and so forth. Now just one guy who's smart, who knows what he's doing with talent, can do it by himself. Automation. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I have 14%, 29%, which means D, 57%. Now I am going to go ahead and say, guys, you're relatively young in your careers, right? This is going to change. This is going to change big time. And that's what today is really all about. So fantastic job with that poll. Let's go on and take a look at our lectures today. Don't worry, I'll get it right. Okay, now we're set. We're going to do 2 readings today. Well, 1 reading and a video. Man and Machine by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, now we all know Mahatma Gandhi and we know what he's done and so forth, but he wrote a really fascinating essay about automation and machines and so forth. And so that's what we're going to explore first. So with that, and now we're going to start seeing our ticks jump up here. Let me go ahead and get my marker. Let's get my highlighter. Okay. Timothy says, by the way, I still don't like self-checkout because it, You know what? So, Timothy, thank you. Real world example, contributor, awesome comment. I really rebelled against self checkout at the beginning. I really did not like it. Um, I'm freaking adapting. I don't like it, but I end up using it more than I feel like I should. Yeah, it's kind of inevitable. All right, let's take a look at this question here. Now, I want you to think back to Karl Marx and Adam Smith. Both of them had some real concerns about division of labor, right? Remember division of labor, how everybody does just one tiny little job along the whole assembly line? Remind me, and we're going to go to the puppy cam here in a moment, and then we get to reference past lectures when we're doing this. Remind me, both Marx and Adam Smith had concerns about division of labor to this extent. What were some of their concerns? So let's take a look at that. Okay, let's come back and take a look. You guys are totally on it, right? Okay, so first of all, we have Mason, new contributor, awesome comment and reference to a past lecture. Separation from the product and the community. And then Hayden came in with same thing. We're talking about alienation from the product. Yes, you're absolutely correct. I pushed the wrong button. There we go. So yes, separation or alienation from the product, right? That meaning that you don't really feel like you're connected with the product. Whereas in the past, when you were a craftsman, you could really make something, you could see yourself in it, you could express yourself through your work and through the product. That's not the case anymore. You know, you would just push buttons and turn knobs and pull levers, and that was it. And as a result, there was some separation from the community as well. Now, these were both Karl Marx ideas. So you're absolutely right, both of you. Let's remember, though, Adam Smith very much agreed with these ideas, right? He was saying, you know, if a person doesn't have the opportunity to problem solve or to critically think or to innovate or to kind of, you know, express themselves in the work, they will become as stupid as a beast can become. And they will lose the capacity to think critically, exercise judgment, or have any pleasure in life. That was pretty harsh stuff. And that's from Adam Smith, right? Okay. So here's the thing. Mahatma Gandhi sort of agrees. All right, let's explore some of the things that he says. So, what we're really talking about here is a battle between two elements. First, efficiency. Now, you all remember that capitalism is all about efficiency, right? And efficiency meaning produce more with less. And we love efficiency. It is the hallmark of capitalism. But thing is, producing more with less includes less labor, right? Productivity is the objective. The objective is productivity. It is not employment. Capitalism is not interested in employing, it is interested in producing. Now, the invisible hand says if you continue to produce, you will employ whether you mean to or not. But automation is really eliminating a lot of jobs, okay? So that's a concern that Gandhi has. But then here's his major gripe, all right? He says, listen, the other side of efficiency is labor, the value and the role of work, okay, including over-engineered hierarchical processes. See this picture right here? I'm going to tell you some stories about when I was in India. But this sort of thing you see right here, oh my gosh, the processes in India are and the reason I refer to India is because Gandhi is from India and he references India. The processes and just Byzantine bureaucracies in India are just astonishing, but there's a purpose behind them, okay? In Gandhi's mind, the idea of eliminating jobs for the sake of efficiency is immoral and unethical because labor is what makes us who we are. Okay. Furthermore, he's very concerned about something that we here in the United States don't really think about so much. India is the second most populated country in the world. There's something along the lines of 1.7 billion Indians. Okay. Now, to put that in some context, folks, there's about 300 million Americans, or 300 million people living in the United States, I should say. So 300 million people living in the United States versus, 1.7 billion in India. Well, now, if America has, say, a 5% unemployment rate, and I'm just making that up, if we have a 5% unemployment rate, that means that there's enough jobs for 300 million people minus 5%. Well, now in India, if you had enough jobs for only 300 million people, you'd have an unemployment rate of something like 70%. Efficiency is not really all that awesome when it comes to employing people, okay? So with that in mind, I want to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story about this, okay? So here's the deal. Ages and ages and ages ago, I'm in India working, and I decide I want to buy a sari, one of these beautiful Indian dresses for my daughter. And so I go off to the department store. Well, here's the thing. I walk into the front door and I'm greeted by somebody at the front door and they say, hey, can I help you? Well, now I know what that's all about. Yeah, sure. And I say, well, actually, yeah, I could use some help. I would like to buy a sari for my daughter. She's about that big. I want to buy a sari. And they go, wonderful. Come with me. They take me by the hand and they take me to somebody else who's standing maybe 30 feet away. And he hands me off to this person. And he says, can I help you? I said, well, yeah, I'm here to buy a sari for my daughter. She's 6 years old. And he said, wonderful. And he takes me to the bottom of an escalator. And at the bottom of that escalator is waiting another individual. Hi, can I help you? Yeah, I'm here to buy a sari for my daughter. Ah, yes. He takes me to the top of the escalator. And yes, at the top of the escalator, somebody is waiting. Hello, can I help you? This continues on to the children's department, the girls section of the children's department, and then the dress section of the girls section of the children's department. I'm talking to 6 or 7 people to find this place, right? And at this point, the guy just grabs a sari, grabs this one, and says, "How about this?" And right at this point, I'm kind of freaking out. I mean, I'm just like, I'll take anything. Now, it turns out that I really like this one. This is gorgeous. But truth be known, he could have handed me a burlap sack at that point, and I would have taken it because I was like, what's going on here? So I go through the exact same process to get down to the cashier, person to person to person to person. And at the cashier, I don't hand my card to the cashier. I hand my card to somebody standing next to me who hands it to the cashier. The cashier runs it. The cashier hands it back to the person standing next to me, and they hand it to me. Okay. Now, at the time, I'm young. I don't know what's going on. All I see is inefficiency, inefficiency, inefficiency. But then later, when I was having dinner with another expat friend of mine from Israel, he explained it to me. He said, listen, there's 1.7 billion people in this country, and they need to find work for all of them. And so their goal is not to be efficient with labor and so forth. Their goal is actually to create labor, because there's nothing more noble than labor. So that's where Gandhi's coming from. Now, he's also very concerned that what's happening is U.S. companies are exporting the crap work, the manufacturing work, the low-paid work to India, while they keep all the high-end work for themselves. And I want you to explore the difference in perspective. What I have here is a quote from just some CEO, right? And it's in Think Progress. The link is down here. Here's what a CEO said about exporting jobs overseas. A part of American business, a part of any business, adding, I'm proud of it. He said he spent most of his career outsourcing jobs and shifting manufacturing operations to low-cost foreign factories, especially in Asia. Okay? Oh yeah, Ryan. Hey. Totally. Sorry, Ryan, I didn't catch you there. Yeah, Indian efficiency, not inefficiency, right? Yeah, so it's efficient for us because we're sending it overseas, right? Very good. So here's the thing. All work is outsourced except for the work you do. And you outsource all the work except for the work you do. And the very fact that you have a job is because somebody outsourced their work to you. Think about that for a moment. Every single job, when you're working for somebody, even including a customer, is work that is done because somebody chose to outsource their work to you. So outsourcing isn't bad. And if you want to learn more about, offshoring, right, sending jobs overseas and what that does, take my international business class, okay? Management 2600. You can now enroll for the spring. Enrollment is now, registration is now open. We go into depth on outsourcing overseas. And yeah, it's a regular part of our business. But now, here's the thing. Here's what Gandhi says. He feels this is exploitation of weaker nations. What is the cause of this present chaos? It is exploitation. I will not say of weaker nations of the stronger, but sister nations of sister nations. One person's goal of efficiency is another person's form of exploitation. Now, we have already seen this in our lectures, folks, right? Remember on Tuesday when we talked about Connie and Clifford and Lady Chatterley's lover? Well, Clifford is basically exploiting the need of his workers. You know, there's this myth out there that we all have infinite choice and we all have infinite options and opportunities. We don't. Sometimes the job you're taking is the only job that's there. And it's either take the job or starve to death. And just so you know, and we can talk in detail more about this later if you like, you do not know what poverty is until you go to India and see poverty. Yes, I understand that we have, poor here. I've worked in the shelters before, and I've been around, and we talked about my philosophy on giving to panhandlers. I'm all for it, right? That's not the kind of poverty that we see in these countries. And so when we outsource to these countries, on one hand, we're providing jobs. On the other hand, they're barely enough to live by. So once again, if you're curious to learn more, take Management 2600. Okay, let's continue. Now, here's the thing, guys. It's not that Gandhi hates all machines, right? It's not like he's the opposite of Bender and saying kill all humans, kill all machines. He doesn't hate all machines. He, in fact, really likes a lot of machines. And one that he really likes, that he talks about here, is the Singer sewing machine. He thinks this is a great example of a good machine. Here's his logic. A machine that allows you to do your job better and to bring more joy to your job and to, increase your quality and your enjoyment. It all comes down to enjoyment in your work is a good machine. Okay. So for instance, for me right now, all these computers I'm surrounded with, and yeah, I'm surrounded by computers and monitors right now. These are good machines to me because they're allowing me to teach remotely, and I really love doing this. So Gandhi would look at these, I'm going to suppose, and say, yeah, these are good machines. They're allowing Lon to do his job with greater joy. Hayden says, I lived in a jungle city of, along the Amazon River, Peru 2 years ago. Yeah, yes. So great real world example. And yeah, awesome comment. Absolutely. I had somebody in India tell me once, he said, I want to be poor in America where even the poor people are fat and have cell phones. And I was like, whoa, really makes you think about it, right? Yeah, really makes you think about it. Yeah, Ryan, yeah, totally, I agree. What brings you there? Okay, so a machine that brings about greater joy to what we do and allows us, yes, I love my tools. Yes, Ryan. Yes, so cool. You know what, guys? You're so right. Ryan, there's nothing better than having the right tool. Oh my gosh, right? When you're working on something like a car or a house or you're building something, when you have the right tool, it's almost a serendipitous feeling. Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. Okay, let's continue on. Now, for Gandhi, the goal in all of this is happiness. He wants people to be happy, to, as Karl Marx would say, fulfill their species essence. And as Adam Smith would say, not be as dumb as a beast can be, right? So he's very much in favor of a decentralized system, meaning people are not working for great big huge corporations and they're just mindless nameless cogs in these corporations. Everybody is a craftsperson, small business, craftsman, working his or her trade. He really likes that idea. As opposed to a centralized system, he feels that a centralization as a system is inconsistent with nonviolent structure of society. And what that comes down to is, you know what? It's always going to be us versus them with corporations, right? It's always going to be us versus them, labor versus management. Now, when you're in a decentralized system and everybody's working their craft, there is no labor and management. Everybody is labor in their craft. But in this centralized system, you've always got that struggle. And we've seen what happens with that struggle quite a bit. Hey, Timothy says, did you go to India through SLCC's study abroad? That would be totally cool. You really should. And yes, we're continuing to do that. But no, I was there when I was working for Intel Corporation. And this was seriously like 15 years ago that I was there. But yeah, I was there as an employee. And that, by the way, is an awesome comment. Mario, we have a new contributor. Awesome. Welcome, Mario. My grandpa said, I'd rather be poor in America than poor in Mexico. So not only an awesome comment, but a real world example. It's really true. It's really true. Now, I don't want to, guys, please, I do not want to understate the plight of the homeless and the poor here in America. This is real. This is important. We need to support. We need to give. We need to do what we can to help out. But I also want to just submit to you that America is so rich that even our poor are better off than poor in other countries. It's just the way it is. And so, yes, Mario, thank you for that. Okay, so here's a quote. And Ryan, you're going to love this quote, okay? This is from Adam Savage. Adam Savage is formerly of Mythbusters, but he has a series now on YouTube called, oh, I forget. Oh my gosh, how did I forget? It's just, you can find Adam Savage on YouTube easily. But he has a book that I read, Every Tool is a Hammer. And here's a quote from it. I'm obsessed with the form of a toolbox, the idea of a portable kit that has everything you might need, ignites something inside me. It's like Batman's utility belt. I could not agree with the man more. And he derives a great deal of joy and satisfaction from working with tools. Check out his YouTube channel sometime. He even does these little bits where he talks about his favorite tools and how they work and why he loves them, things like that. He would very much be in line with Gandhi in that case. Okay? All right, so that is Man and Machine. Now I want to talk a moment about Humans Need Not Apply. Remember, this is the video that I said, please watch the video, please watch the video. If you have watched the video, then you're going to be able to play with our discussion here quite a bit. We're going to start seeing these bad boys rack up. If you have not watched the video, don't worry. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I still really encourage you to watch it. It's incredible. Okay? So, with that, let's continue on. Here's the premise of this video, Humans Need Not Apply. Here, it's really easy to think of blue-collar work as replaceable by automation, right? Replaceable by computers, by machines, by robots. But the premise that this particular video makes is that, let's see. Oh, hang on. Timothy, you like this quote because it has Batman in it. Yes. As well as the fact that it's just an awesome quote. But yes, totally. And so there's our first 10, guys. Our first 10. Fantastic. Hey, Timothy, hook us up. We've got 90410. Throw that in the comments there, guys. You know the drill. 90410. Okay. And I have a feeling it's just going to keep going. So, humans need not apply says actually all jobs are being automated out. Blue collar, white collar, creation or creativity, creative jobs, right? So not Timothy, Tristan, you'll wanna Google this video. For humans need not apply, because it even talks about computers composing music. Now, mind you, Tristan, in the music that they play in the example, it sort of sucks a lot. Okay, so it's not going to put you out of business, but the fact is, it's a coming, right? So really interesting. I invite you to take a look at that. Okay. Hey, Ryan, thank you very much. Okay, so here's the idea. I want to ask you, and this is a serious question. Okay, yeah, Tristan, you totally want to do it. Again, the music they give as an example sucks, but gotta start somewhere. Okay, this is a serious question. This is an important question, because the reason you're in college right now is because you want to have a better career. You want to have more financial stability. You want to have greater earning potential. You want to have more autonomy and control in your life, which means you need to be eminently valuable and employable. Okay? So, with that, I want to ask this question. What can you do, or what will you be able to do, that a machine, computer, or robot cannot? I really want to hear your thoughts on this. We're going to rack these points up, because this is an important thing for you to consider. What can you do, or what will you be able to do, that a robot, a computer, or a machine cannot? Okay? So, you know the drill. Let's go check in on the puppies. Okay, let's come back and take a look. And as usual, actually, I'm going to come back over here because I want to be able to mark up our points. You guys are not disappointing, okay? So, by the way, Timothy offered the example of, movie theater example and so forth, live orchestras versus music. And in fact, yeah, great example. It used to be that you needed a projectionist. Yeah, there was such a thing as a projectionist who would set up separate reels on different machines, two different projectors, because the movies could not fit on one reel, so they'd have to, manage all that. It's all digital now. It's all push a button, right? Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at some of your examples. So, and see, Ryan said we can produce more babies and they can invent more robots, but humans will lead. Yeah, true. Humans can produce babies better than robots. I'm not sure that there's a market for that necessarily, or at least a market that we can all benefit from. But, you're not wrong. Okay. Let's see. So Jaime says, sales, connecting people on a personal level. Great real world example. And Jaime, I think you're a new contributor, so I'm going to throw that in there anyway. So Jaime's on to something here, guys. Relationships, okay? Relationships really matter in our world. And you guys already know this in some of the discussions we've been having in our lectures. Business is all about trust and relationships. You think business is about money. It's not. You guys know it was happening before we even had money. It's about, relationships and meeting needs. And sales and that sort of thing, yes, that is an area that humans and you kind of hold an edge over. Let's see. So Mason, assess the needs of my community. Computers cannot connect with the community. Yes, exactly. Once again, working with the community, bringing people together, orchestrating, organizing people. Yeah, very nice. Now, the computers can be tools to help us do this, but they can't do it for us. Okay. Timothy, yes, you can think and feel. I don't know how much people are going to pay you to think and feel, but yeah, totally. But AI, it's on its way. Artificial intelligence, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Mario, I think I'm able to learn new things instead of being programmed to do one specific task. Okay, guys, Mario's on to something big here. Oh, and I pushed the wrong button. Hang on. I do this every once in a while as I lose. Oh, here it is. I pushed the wrong button and I close YouTube. And in the past, I used to freak out because I thought I ended it. But now we're still going. We're still here. So I go ahead and click on that. And lo and behold, we're all set. Okay, so let's take a look at what Mario says here. So, and by the way, I'm just going to stack this back up because we are now totally, you're getting all kinds of great real world examples. This is stupendous. Okay, so Mario talks about learning and being programmed to do a specific thing. Now, here's the thing. Computers can learn, but even they learn very, very slowly and they learn specific things and so forth. Computers are really, really good at doing one thing that they've been programmed to do. Computers and robots pretty much suck at being flexible, at changing things up, at having to adapt. Adaptability is still very much a human trait. So Mario, bang on right there. Timothy, computers can learn independently. Yes, they sure can, and they're being programmed to learn. It's great. Better than the last answer, we can use our imagination to create new forms of automation, invent tools, and so forth. Yes, I really like that. We can foresee and anticipate problems better than computers right now. All right, our imagination can conceive of the abstract and can conceive and look into the future and anticipate things, and we can build tools to meet that. No compassion or empathy. So Hayden, yes, very nice. Compassion and empathy is a human trait that is still highly marketable. I'll give you an example. There are a lot of hospitals who have tried to use robot nurses. I'm not making this up. robot nurses. And while robot nurses tend to make better decisions in terms of dosage and make less mistakes and so on and so forth because they don't get tired and grumpy and so on, excuse me, patients hate them. Patients hate them because you need empathy from a nurse. You really need empathy. So bang on right there. Let's see. So Tristan says in the movie, Her is a great example of computer trying to, yes, I have not watched that movie. And Timothy supports Brock in that. So that's going to be a reference to the past lecture. So yeah, I have not seen that movie, but it's on Netflix now, I think. And I've thought about watching that, because yeah, fascinating concept, right? Okay, very, very good. Let's see. I think we had one more. Lars. Okay, Timothy. Oh gosh, guys, Lars and the Real Girl is so good. I'm going to give that reference to past lecture, even though Lars and the Real Girl was not a lecture. Lars and the Real Girl is so good, and it's a great example of what we're talking about. Mason says quantum computing will change everything. Yes. Oh my gosh. Mason is so right. Quantum computing, once we figure that out, it's going to be a new world. I mean, we are totally talking about Terminator and everything, not necessarily the scary, but if you don't know what quantum computing is, Google that bad boy. It'll rock your mind. Okay. It'll change everything. All right. Very good. Very good. Now, just so you know, and we're not going to watch these videos, right? But there's a couple of videos that you might want to look up. I'll provide them to you. This one is where an NPR report, so computers right now can write news articles. A lot of news articles that you read, like online and so forth, are written by computers. Many, 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 many are written by computers. And Scott Horsley, who's an NPR reporter, he did a little race with a computer, and it was just comical because Scott took 2 minutes to write an article that a computer wrote in half a nanosecond and could have written 10,000 more in that same half a nanosecond. It's incredible. And in this video on computational creativity, they talk about how computers are coming up with new recipes. So cooks are turning to computers to come up with new recipes because apparently humans can only kind of conceptualize the combination of 3 flavors at a time, whereas a computer can go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or whatever. And so, yeah, they're being creative. Hey, Danielle, we have Daniel with us. Fantastic. Already seeing computers taking over jobs, especially in manufacturing. Big time, big time. Ryan, true that, Mason. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Level of computing, absolutely, ultimately cool. He's talking about the quantum computing. Yes. And you know what? I'm pretty darn sure we got to our 10 and I missed it. So we're going to go ahead and say we're at 10 contributors. Oh my gosh. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Okay. But now hold on. Maybe not. Maybe computers and robots are not going to take away all of our jobs. I'm going to invite you to watch a couple of videos that are very fascinating. I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version, but we need to practice critical thinking. Remember, that's a big part of this class. And so we need to, instead of just throwing our hands up in the air and say, oh, the computers are taking over, we need to challenge this. And there's a couple of good videos out there that do a good job of it. One of them is a TEDx talk by David, I didn't get his full name, Ottoman or something like that. I apologize. Why are there still so many jobs is the name of the talk. And Daniel, with a growing demand for computers, won't they create more jobs in the process? That is a huge argument that is often made. And the answer is yes, right? Okay, so Um, he kind of says there's two reasons why there's always going to be a lot of jobs. His point is, listen, we've had automation around for decades and decades and decades and decades. And so if automation is going to take away all our jobs, why are there so many jobs? And he says there's a lot of jobs for two reasons. One, he calls the O-ring principle. The O-ring principle says, listen, the jobs that you're going to automate, for the most part, are jobs that are predictable, consistent, repeatable tasks, which means all those jobs are going to be more or less taken care of. Well, what jobs are going to be left? Well, the ones that, and they're the ones you pointed out, guys, ones that require creativity, empathy, relationship building, ability to forecast problems, so on and so forth. And those jobs pay more, right? And those jobs will create more jobs. So, O-ring principle. And then he has another principle that he calls the never get enough principle. He says, listen, we always want more. We always want more. It's the profit motive, right? And he says, if we stop doing one thing, we'll just do something else. So he says, right now, you could make a living being a hot yoga instructor. Hot as in the heat, right? Or, now people are doing Pokemon Go as an example he uses. Let's face it, there's tons and tons and tons of things that we do today and pay people to allow us to do that never existed in the past because we have time, we have money, we have creativity, we have innovation, we have ingenuity. And so, you take something like this, YouTube, that we're doing right now. This has created all kinds of jobs, and it didn't even exist 30 years ago. So why are we to assume that 30 years from now, new things won't exist that won't create new jobs? So he's pretty much on the side that there's always going to be a lot of jobs. Last video I'd like to reference is from David Oliver. Is that his name? David Oliver? One that he did on automation. David Oliver makes a lot of really good videos. I'm going to just say this isn't his best, but it's pretty darn good. But here's a quote from it. You're going to be fine if your job is a series of non-routine tasks that require social intelligence and complex critical thinking and creative problem solving. Now, isn't it cool that you guys already identified all these elements? Come on, give yourselves credit. You pointed out non-routine tasks, right? Requires social intelligence. You pointed out social intelligence in terms of bringing community together. Complex critical thinking to look into the future, see things. Creative problem solving. And this one doesn't even, well, actually, social intelligence would also include emotional intelligence, the empathy side. But guys, thanks to David Oliver, right? You guys got all these things, okay? Now, I really want you to kind of embrace what all this means, because here's the thing. You're not guaranteed a living. You're not guaranteed a job. You're not guaranteed anything, all right? You don't just get a college degree and then go out into the world and say, where's my money, right? You need to provide skills and abilities that are valuable to an employer. And if you provide anything that an employer can actually hire a robot or a computer to do, then you are not as valuable, all right? Because you're a lot more of a pain in the butt to manage than a robot. Trust me, I'm a lot more of a pain in the butt to manage than a robot. Take my word for it, okay? So if they can hire a robot or a computer, they will. Cheaper, easier, faster, easier to manage. But if you guys go out into the workforce with, with social intelligence, emotional intelligence, empathy, ability to problem solve, think critically, do non-routine tasks, be flexible, and able to look into the future and forecast problems, you are going to be so set. You're going to be so set. And then when you're so set and you've rocked the economy, I can retire and retire in a really strong economy because I know that my awesome students are out there taking good care of the country and the world for that matter, right? International. Okay. So that's it, folks. All right. We're on the hour. So very, very good job. Regular routine today. I am going to stick around online if you have any comments or questions or want to explore anything. Otherwise, that wraps things up. Now, for those of you who are in the class, okay, more obedient? No, Hayden. No. I'm not hip on obedience. It's all right. Got to be troublemakers somewhere, right? I would like to take a moment and take a look at next week's readings. So let's see, otherwise it wouldn't be really bad. Yeah. Let's take a look at next week's readings. If you're just along for the lecture for the fun of it, folks, we're all set here. But for those who are my students, I would like to look ahead. Oh, hold on. I'm like, why am I looking all the way the heck over there? Let's take a look at the readings for next week. So we'll sign in right there. Hey, thank you, Tristan. I appreciate it. I love this stuff. Absolutely love this stuff. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm always valuable. I have to tell the computer that I am who I am. I'm always trying to make sure I'm valuable enough that a computer can't replace me. Okay, here's our readings, guys. Here's us. Thank you, Aaron. And we're going to come over here to modules. All right, so where are we coming? We just at autumn. Okay, okay, we are now in module 10. Okay, management as a science. We have 3 readings in management as a science. This is awesome. Okay. Remember when what's his name? Andrew Carnegie was saying we need better managers who are better trained, who confer with employees. This is what next week is all about, creating those better managers. All right. So let's first take a look at Henri Fayol. All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to post to, I'm going to post to to the announcements. I will post an announcement which one of these to focus on, okay? Because we're not going to cover all of them. We're only going to cover about 6 of them. And so I will post in the announcement section of Canvas which ones I want you to really focus on, okay? So that's the first one, management as a science. Then we're going to come over here to, let's see here, principles of scientific management, okay? Oh, I see. Principles of scientific management. All right, this is good old Frederick Taylor. And I keep moving on over. Examples. Okay, here we go. Here are the sections I want you to really focus on. All right. I want you to focus on outline of scientific management and task idea. And then I really want you to go into depth on example of scientific management, shoveling. Okay, go into depth on that, and then go into big depth on second example, bricklaying. You read those 3 sections, right? You read those 3 sections in depth, the idea, shoveling, and bricklaying, and you will be totally set. Because that's where we're really going to focus our discussions. Okay? All right, one more. One more. We're going to come over here to methods of influence and control. Okay? This one is relatively short. This one is relatively short, and this one gets into the most modern views of power and management and control and so forth. So read this one. You'll want to read this one in its entirety. All right? So that means that what I'm going to ask you to do for next week is I am going to send you which sections to read for general labor and industrial management. I pointed out the 3 sections to read for principles of scientific management, and then go ahead and read all of methods of influence and control. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's truly not, right? We're only talking, I think probably when we're all said and done, about 45 minutes of reading, okay? You do those and you are going to be totally set up for next week. Okay? All right, folks. That is it. I'll stick around if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you very much. Great discussion. And we'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.